Hello and welcome. First of all, I'm so excited that you have booked this call with us and our team. And I'm here to give you a little bit of insight of to how the call will work, a little bit of the things that you're going to cover, and I think most importantly, how to make the best out of the call so that we can make sure that we are helping you to figure out what is going to help your child the most, because that's the space that we come from in our company. Our entire mission is in vision is to see these children get to independence, communication, and so that we, as the rest of society, get to experience the gifts that we know your children have and can provide to this world. Now, saying that, make sure to set aside roughly about 45 minutes to an hour for this call. This call is going to be both insightful and it's also going to allow for you to have a clear path on the areas that you are going to move forward and if we are a good fit for that path. Now, with the call, we do ask that your husband be present, or if you're the husband, that your wife be present. And there is a reason. Where we see our families have the most success is when families join as a unit. Now, if you don't have a significant other, by all means, obviously, you can bring yourself. If you have a support person, such as a parent or whatnot, they can also join the call if that is something that you think would be helpful. Okay, now saying that, the how this call is structured is we will guide you through, first of all, doing a deep dive of understanding your current family situation. And the reason we do this is that a family from Japan is going to be very different from than a family from the US. A family from Nigeria is going to be very different from a family from the UK. And we like to make sure that when we are learning about you, that we're getting as many details about your culture, your lifestyle, your ability to implement and to learn about the basics of your busyness as well. We want to know everything about what is happening in your life today and how it makes sense if our programs can help you move that forward, molded to you, because we tailor our programs to our individuals. Everything is very high touch and highly molded to our families that join. And we do only generally take in a few families every month for this reason, because we like to make sure that our families are nurtured. And to give examples of that, let's just say we do an onboarding call and all of a sudden we feel like we need more time. We want to make sure that from our side, we're able to completely provide that. And I think that that's important for people to know, is that we're never rushing. Our goal is to make you feel nurtured and supported. Now, saying that, now, how the structure of the call will go is we will do a deep dive. Like I said, we're going to learn everything about you. We are going to then see if any of our programs are going to be a good fit for you. We're going to talk about that together. We're kind of like collaborators in the journey for your child. And because parents are, to me, the healers of the home and the individuals who have the greatest impact in their children's lives, as it should be, we want to make sure that everything feels really good for both you and for our company. And so now, saying that, after that, there will be lots of time for you to dive into questions and ask about either the program or how this works with your child specifically. Now, saying that, many people have, and then we can offer insight basically into how our services are going to help your child with their current situation. And this is how we do this. And then towards the end, I'm going to give you a description of what our methods are here. And then towards the end, families generally will make a decision on if they want to join either program, and oftentimes will just join right there on the call so that we can get their onboarding started. Now, saying that, this is a little bit about what we do in the program, because for some families, they don't know what they're about to have this conversation with. And I think that this is really important to have a little bit of insight prior. And so what we do in our program is we use two signature frameworks that were created by myself through both professional and personal experience, both with my son and helping hundreds of families. And the first one is called the neuronutrition flow. The neuronutrition flow is a signature framework that focuses on helping our children, first of all, have intentional introductions of food. So if your child is a picky eater, this is definitely an area. But even for those that are not picky eaters, understanding neuronutrition on a and intentional food as medicine for the brain, for the body, for mitochondrial dysfunction, for support of opening up the detox pathways, and then of course just to support healthy nutrients and gut proliferation. So feeding the gut bugs that we have is absolutely crucial from the very beginning. And so that's the first area, what we call our foundations, and what some practitioners outside, well, just practitioners in general, will term like the foundations of health. Most of us know this. The problem is we have a lot of professionals in our programs specifically because of our ability to help families implement. It is not a protocol that you are handed, it is molded. We use what is working to intentionally introduce the things that are going to create all of those supports in the areas I just mentioned, like brain development, mitochondrial function, and also opening up the detox pathways and gut proliferation. So we are very intentional, but we use what is working. And that is the beauty of having a signature framework that doesn't just offer you a protocol, it tailors it to your culture, your lifestyle. And then our second process as we go through, once all of this foundations are built, there is so much more. I think there's a maybe out there in the world, people assume that because you're using nutrition, you're not using it functionally. That nutrition is nice to have, but it's not the most important thing. But it is the lack of nutrients and it is the overburden of toxicity that has likely gotten your child to the symptoms that they're currently suffering with. And you're going to get to learn about that in your call with a deep dive. And from the other perspective, our secondary framework is to address all of the issues which that you would come across in testing. So for example, we have used the framework itself is called the repeatable milestone process. And what testing will normally tell us is that our children are either dysbiotic, which means that they have different bacteria, fungi, or different bugs that are a little more harmful. They're called opportunists that are impacting their health. And from there, there's also another test that families will often get, which is the organic acid test. And that's going to tell us if there's sometimes some exposures to mold and external toxicity. At the end of the day, it always comes down, though, to two things. Is your child able to overcome toxicity damage through nutrition, which means that are their cells able to rebuild themselves appropriately? That is what nutrition is meant to do. And so when we're nutritionally deficient, then we're not able to do that. And so the next piece of what we see in testing is the body overrun by toxicity that creates environments for dysbiosis, which is gut imbalances? When we look at, I have looked at all the testing in the world, and when it really comes down to the foundations of everything, it simplifies into understanding gut dysbiosis, but also brain development needs and also liver support needs. Our body is a systemic being. And so the repeatable milestone process, to keep it simple, will bring you through a flow or through a process that is repeatable. And every time families go through the process, it becomes easier, it gets better, and it becomes actually part of your lifestyle. We're not handing you, let's just say, a cookie cutter protocol that's going to help your child. No, we're looking at a process that is meant to be molded and can be molded to every culture across the world, but we need to make sure that we know how to do that based on our deep dive on this call. What that process includes is overcoming nutritional deficiencies, focusing on 4 different detoxes that are going to support the areas that we know happen in autism where we see this, which is parasites, looking at heavy metals, looking at all of the other viruses, fungi that are opportunists and putting them in their place and in the balance they need to be. And some of them don't belong there at all. And then, of course, going into mycotoxin support, understanding how mold and the external environment impacts the body and having the tools to overcome it, not just in food, but also in, well, in a foundation of food. And then should there be needs for supplementation, and these are extremely rare, I can name in hundreds of people that we normally only see the need for supplementation in one or two areas, and it's still, even then, extremely rare for every family to have to go through them. And then lastly, flowing into our gut restoration piece. Now, be mindful that even from the neuronutrition flow all the way to the end of the signature repeatable milestone process, we are always actively working on lowering inflammation and increasing nutrient capacity while helping the body rid itself of toxicity in a way that is safe for your children. The goal for us is for your children to be able to continue to live as children and to be able to live and go to school. And so, excuse me, of course, this thing. There we are. Sometimes, technology is great when it works, or when it decides to show up later. So that brings us to just a little bit of an understanding of what we do in our program. It doesn't, you can ask any questions on any of these, and Michelle and our team is able to answer them based on exactly from her intake, which parts of our program are going to give you the most bang for your buck, but also really importantly to know that foundationally, some people, the entire program is going to be needed for their child to get to the milestones that they are independent and able to communicate. So I hope that this gives you some insight on our framework. Understanding where families are stalling and getting stuck is also extremely beneficial. Knowing how the call is structured is also helpful to you. So now, saying that, I can't wait for you to join our team in this call so that we can learn so much more about your child. Your child is truly what matters to us, and their ability to thrive. And we care about your child very, very deeply. And we haven't even met them yet, but I can tell you that we do, because they are the future generations of this world, and they are all individually beautiful. Okay, now saying that, I can't wait for the call. We will see you there. And I hope that this is a great way for you to prepare and get the most out of the call and the education and deep dive that you are also looking for.